Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to this present moment, here to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. And here I come, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. And here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Oh, get ready, my soul.
Okay, so let's just get ready. Now, what would that mean? First of all, the theme for this year is living out loud. The theme for this month is bold beginnings. And I realized what this diving in stuff is. It was kind of just, I woke up to it because I try to meditate before first service because I've been, God talks in the car. So it's a good thing I have a cell phone and I tell people what I've been getting because God talks in the car. I don't know where your God talks, but my God talks in the car. So I start driving and it's like, here's an idea, and here's an idea, and here's an idea, and I think it laughs because it knows I can't take notes. Thus, the calling people and telling them what I think. Nicely. So I usually come here and I have to sit and get centered again. Okay, get centered. And I'm doing my holy thing. And Jake is playing, and the band, the J's, the 3 J's. Well, we're going to come up with a name, J Cubed, the J Cubed band. Our house band, the JJ's, the J's. Now, if you only got a Janet or a Joplin or somebody to sing with you, then it could be a whole, yeah, ooh, baby, J. Crew. Anyway, so I'm trying to be holy. Yeah, how many of you have tried to be holy? Yeah, how's it work sometimes? So I'm trying, and then my feet, I pay attention, like I'm in the zone, but I notice my feet aren't. And I am doing the river dance while he's doing his little thing. So you weren't here, most of you weren't here, but I decided, well, heck, if my feet want to dance, let's just get the whole body involved. So I was dancing around while you were doing prelude music, because that's diving in. How many of us just go so far, we put our little toe in? And where we could just dive in, get it all over us, live out loud, make mistakes, learn from it, start again, have fun. That's what this talks about today. Who's in? Good. This month has been about why, what, how, why, what, how, and who. That's all we got, right? Why, what, how, and who. Yeah. Why, what, how, and who. That should answer everything. The why is why you incarnated. To know why you incarnated is fulfilling. When I live why I need to live, why I incarnated, it feels more fulfilling. I feel on target. I'm satisfied. That's the why. But the why is a large idea. And it's on YouTube. You can get more help with that on some other things that we've got. Other information, you can get help with your why on this book I've got, which is downstairs for only $5, Intentions Workbook. I mean, it's like, that costs more to print it than it is to just give it to you. So, yeah. So why is important, but I can't talk about that now. But the what is what helps me live a life where I can fulfill my why, where I can live my purpose. Because if you think about it, it's very hard to live out your divine purpose when you're really worried about how to pay the rent or how to feed your kids or overcoming a chronic ailment or having neighbors that are always griping at you. You know, that just sort of dissipates energy. And this is very much the hierarchy of Maslow, Maslow's hierarchy, that self-actualization happens when you handle the base. So the intentions that you create, and I talked about that last week, the intentions you create help you, lift you to the place where you can be fulfilling your divine purpose. Intentions are a what. What do I want to experience this year? What do I want to move into and grow into? And the what is always expanding. I mean, I think about what I experienced or what I wanted to have happen in certain areas of my life, and that was good, and there's more. I try to not let the good be the enemy of gooder. So under relationships, there was a time when I wanted one. I have one. And then there was a time I wanted relationships with my siblings. I have relationships with my siblings. And now, as I wait and I listen to what would support me in being having the full gamut of life, I look at relationships and I knew what that I want to accept. Now, an intention is something that's born in your heart, like this is where I want to go. This is where I want to go now. More about that last week, and it's on YouTube. But it's not something that you can make happen, because if it's something you can just do, it's a goal. Check it off. An intention is something that grows you as you grow into it and move towards it. And I love big, hairy, audacious intentions that can't possibly happen without divine assistance. Because then you also grow in your understanding of God, and you grow in your faith of God, and you grow in your connection to God. So it's good all around. That's a what? A big, hairy, audacious what? So today I want to talk about the who and the what. The who and the how, but before I do that, I want to expand on what just a little bit. How to plan to make welcome a high and holy intention. How to plan for it. Now, we're not planning to make it happen, we're planning to make it welcome, because your heart can draw you in one direction, and your stubbornness, how many of you know you have just a tiny bit? Only a few of you. Well, you're healed, because truth shall set you free. But how many of you know sometimes your higher self wants to go in this direction, but I don't want to deal with it, or I don't want to do it? It happens every time I want to grow in my relationship with God and my spirituality, and then somebody pushes my button. And I have a choice to either let it go and forgive, or I have a choice to know the truth about them. How many have been there? See? That's the stubbornness. Some of us would rather be right than healed. That's a human trait. But it's not to make us wrong. It's like, oh, I see that. Even that I get to heal. Even my desire to prove myself to myself, because I'm not sharing this with anybody else. It's just an internal dialogue. But my desire to keep that dialogue up is something that I would like to heal, because on the other side of that is more harmony and more heaven. A greater experience of love, of connection, which feels better than I'm right, you're wrong, and the gap appears. So, to do that, you can use this little book. It's for sale downstairs. And we have something that I call Kathianne's version of a mind map, and you'll see it right there. I know it looks like an alien. No, the beginnings of an alien that's going to show up on some sort of really bad, cheap, indie production of a monster movie, or a spider, either one. But this is the beginning of a mind map. And the reason I love mind maps is because it helps us use all of our mind. There's a part of our mind, and you can call it left or right, and actually for some people it's reversed, but there's a part of our mind that likes linear thinking. The linear thinking, okay, I'll do this, and then I'll do this, and then I'll do this, and I'll do this, and I'll do this, which is great. It's nice to have a plan like that. But the creative part of our mind goes like, poof. It goes, woof. You hold an idea, and it will expand. So when I get in a car, I might have an idea in my mind, and all sorts of ideas come out of that idea. Just how many of you experience that? That's creativity. That's expansion. That's the way the universe is working. The universe is expanding out, and so do divine ideas. They expand out. And so by having a sheet like this, and you could do it on the workbook, or you just put it on a piece of paper in your journal, by giving yourself permission to see all sorts of areas that you can expand out of, it gives your mind permission to function the way that it does normally in creation. So what I do is I write my intention for that year in some area, and there's a whole bunch of areas. I think there's like 8 areas that I want to expand into every year. And there's a room on here to think, oh yeah, that's pretty good. I'm doing so pretty well on that, but there's a place to look at recreation. Like, are you having any fun? What do you do to entertain yourself besides Netflix? And I'll tell you, I really did like Wednesday, but, after watching it twice, I need to go on. Relationships. So I have the significant other. I have relationships with my family for the first time in a long time. Nobody did anything wrong. It was just age gaps. Now I'm going to admit this out loud. It's time for me to move beyond my insular experience, which got smaller and smaller and smaller in COVID. I mean, I'm an introvert, but I think I have maxed out introversion. Truly. Our dog loves to visit. He's an extrovert. And he would go off for like 3 or 4 hours and visit everyone in the neighborhood and their dogs. Well, really their dogs. And be gone for 4 hours and come back all muddy and happy. But he'd also chase cars and other not so good things. So we put in one of those invisible fences. Well, I have my own invisible fence. I come here, I go home, and I stay on the property. So I want to expand socially. It's an intention of mine. And frankly, I have been so insular, I don't even know how to start. But God does. So I would put more social activity, and I'd see what would come up that would be right for me, not somebody else's idea of what's right. How many of you have lived out of somebody else's idea of what's right? Like, do it this way, do it this way. My first 2 marriages were because women were to get married. Where I came from and the year I was born into, you got married. You were behind if you weren't engaged by 20. Oh, I'm sorry, it's true. I'm of that generation. Does it make sense? So, I want to do social activities the way I want to do social activities that'll feel right for my soul. And so I get to trust my higher wisdom self, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. I trust that it knows how to break me out of my shell. Is this making sense? So this is part of the what. So I go through all of the things in here, like career and finances, and I see, yes, this part is good. My finances are good, and there's gooder. My career's good, and there's gooder. I'm healthy. I've learned how to talk my body out of things. I've talked it out of a thyroid problem. I've talked it out of so many things, diseases, anemia, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And yet there's always more because there's no end to the expression of health that a person can have. Does that make sense? So ask yourself, where am I? Don't make it wrong, but what's the next expression? How do I unfold in my experience of life? And a full life keeps us from having to fix things later, make up later, so that we can be lifted into our purpose. In the area of finances, we got enough to retire. But then I have this show horse. So, dear God, really, dear God, unexpected money goes towards my horse. And God better keep coming up with the unexpected money, which is just, money coming from, I believe in unexpected money, and I get unexpected money. That might be a thing you want to put under your finances, is that you live well through expected and unexpected money. Personal growth. Mine would be that I don't have to forgive because I quit judging myself or others. I catch myself before I do it. Lots of things to look at. Then write it down, like on that circle there, and then let ideas start showing up for you. Just thinking about this talk, both in the area of finances and career, an idea came to me while I was once again in my car that is like, oh yeah, that's perfect. That's the perfect, right evolution. And I don't know how to do it. But I'll write it down. I will work on it this afternoon. I'll write it down in a circle, and I'll start letting ideas come to me. And they're not hierarchy. They're not hierarchical, I should say. Just idea, 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 idea. One idea might trigger another idea. And so if you've got a big blank piece of paper, then the ideas can just start showing up. And you're not putting them in order until you look at it later and you go, well, I could do that now. Or I could do that. If I do that, then I can do this. And then you start putting the puzzle together, and it becomes a plan. The plan is unfolded, and then you put it in order. So that's what. The what of intentions. And I didn't say this first service, so I hope somebody in first service watches this service again or whatever. I also would encourage you to have a group of people who are doing a similar piece of work so you can be accountable to each other. And just share where you are. This showed up, I got this idea, I'm going to follow this idea. One of the reasons that I have money is because in 1991, I was told that I really needed to start investing money. And I already said that one of the things that came to me is join an investment club. And the other idea that came is take extra money and put it away in savings, because I hadn't done that before. I lived paycheck to paycheck, and if I had $30 left over at the end of the paycheck, I thought, oh, $30 to spend. Never occurred to me to put it aside. And yet, just by doing that and allowing myself to see those little bits of money, they added up very quickly. So I had more money to invest, where I'd never had any before. But that was a divine download. This is what you do, Kathianne. You do this, you do this, you do this. If you follow instructions, and the instructions come from within, they will bear fruit. They'll bear fruit. Now let's move on. So have an accountability group leads me to the next thing that I'm going to talk about, which is who you spend time with will affect your experience of life and your ability to do the things and have the things that will support you in living your purpose. Who? A long time ago I read that we are the effect, or I should say, the average of our 5 closest people that we have around us. So if you take 5 people and their consciousness in any given area, you're the median. So if some people that we have around us have a certain consciousness and we can't change that, like they're our neighbors, our coworkers, our family, whatever, and they don't seem to have the same ambitions you do, then have at least some people that have those ambitions that can lift you up, that can support you, buoy you in where you want to go. An illustration of that is a bunch of my friends when I was in Eugene, a bunch of them, they wanted to get married. That would, I'd already gone through 2 husbands. I was a little iffy, but I decided maybe it was a good thing to do. Gone through 2 marriages. Yep, that's pretty much the extent of it. Anyway, I realized that all my friends were single and looking. I was the median of single and looking. When I moved to Seattle and met married friends and hung out with married friends and not just married, but married and happy and married and flourishing, I could get married for the first time and have an exceptional relationship because that was my new median. If you say you want something, Make sure there's somebody in your life that already has it. And just in consciousness, by osmosis, they will pull you up. The who. And you might even gather some people to create a sangha around, I want to live expansively and work on these intentions together and support each other together. And this is not to coach anybody or help anybody. It's just you're working on it, I'm working on it, we're working on it, and you're all lifted. Because you're all seeing that life could be more expansive and more beneficial. The last thing is how. How do you want to end up at the end of the year? How you end up at the end of the year is how you go through the year. And how is a theme. How'd you get there? Now let me just share with you my experience of this. I was in my 20s and I worked for a national company, and I had the territory of Southern Oregon, which means that I had to go over the pass often because I didn't get exempt because it was snowing. I still had to go visit people. So I learned how to put on chains. I got really good tires. I learned how to drive in the snow, and this is before a lot of front-wheel drive, and it's before a lot of four-wheel drive. I mean, you could get four-wheel drive, but it wasn't all-wheel drive. So I had to learn how to drive with rear-wheel drive in a semi-sports car over the pass, even if it started snowing once I was on the pass. And I got really good at it. So I feel secure. No matter what the weather puts on me or in me or around me, no matter what the weather is, I'm pretty secure. I know what I'm doing. I am calm. I remember I was dating this gentleman friend before I got married. Don't want to start any rumors. Anyway, before I got married, I was dating this gentleman friend, and he was going to go with me to my mother's house for Thanksgiving. And we were going to leave early on Thanksgiving morning so we could be there in time for dinner, and that's in Eugene. That's a 5-hour drive. And it was the worst rainstorm, the worst I've ever been in. And it kind of exciting because you'd pass a truck and it's whiteout. How many of you have passed a truck with the rain? It's whiteout time, and you just have to imagine that the road's still there. And I'm loving it. I get there and I'm happy. I'm just, I'm cool, I'm calm, I'm collected, I'm fine. He either needed to go do some deep breaths or have a drink, and my mother does a drink, so he was in trouble. Because he was just like, ugh. We both got to the same place. How we got there and how we arrived was different, because my theme is, this will be easy. His theme is, we're going to die. If I live through this, I'm never driving with her again. It doesn't matter. Do you see how your themes are? It's so important. What's your theme? And if you don't know your theme, just ask a friend. There is a reoccurring theme to your conversations, your reactions, and your intentions. Mine for a long time is I have no time. I have just no time. I just too much. We're asking too much. And I remember my prayer partner at the time, for 3 years, I'd say my big major intention, and then I'd put my theme is to have time as my friend. Time is my friend. Something comes up, I know I can do it. The time is not an issue. And yes, I'm doing things differently, but I didn't try to do things differently. I'm just doing them differently because time is now my friend. It's easy to say no to some things. It's easy to condense things. It's easy to get things done because time is my friend. There was a time when I just thought of this at the end of last service. When I first became a minister, man, I was serious. Because this is serious God's work. This is the work of God. And I went back to visit some friends in Eugene, and we were giggling and laughing, and I thought to myself, I used to be funny. I used to have fun. I used to enjoy things. I was a hoot. The hoot is gone. So my new theme was, I'm going to have fun. Now when I create intentions for anything I do, whether it's a class or a retreat or a sacred journey, I put in there, I will have fun. I don't care if you guys do. I'm having fun. Because if it's not fun, why would I be doing it? Do you see the difference? Do you see you can select your theme? You can. When you know what it is, you can either affirm it or shift it or grow it or expand it. And then after choosing it, it will start to shift your thinking, your reactions, and your intentions. It will shift you. That's what I love, is that our ability to choose then starts to rewire our operating system. And we find ourselves being different. We're not trying to be better. Through our choices, we find that we are. Through our choices. Let's pray. So just look up for a moment. See that wonderful path? And see how rocky the ground is and how uneven? And then somebody created a path. There's bumps in the road, brothers and sisters. The ground is uneven, and sometimes we'll take a step and it won't be quite right, and we'll shift with our ankle, and we might fall down or hurt ourselves or tweak our knee. But spiritual teachers of all religions have paved the path. So we go through the rocky places, and it's a little bit more even. And one of the ways that we can create a more even walk through this life that's got its ups and its downs and its rocky places is to choose our intentions that will draw us forward to that light. And have some people with us that love us and bless us and know that we're going to get there. They don't hold us back, and they don't say that's impossible. They don't say things like, well, why would you think that? Who are you to think those things? And then the how is that path that's even, and it makes the trip less work. We just follow that path by choosing how we will go through our life, at least this year. At least this year. So let the Spirit of God reveal to you a high and holy intention that you want to have unfolded in your consciousness so that you have a divine plan for moving forward. And let that intelligence within you reveal to you some people that can help you see yourself in that new light because they believe in you and they're living the life that you want to live. Who do you want to draw into your circle to be a support for the life that you are living and want to live and grow into? And what theme do you want to choose for yourself so that this year is more delightful, smoother, easier? Let the Spirit reveal that to you. And then write it down someplace and look at it often. and watch Spirit work. You are that garden that can bloom and blossom and bear fruit. And to watch it grow, to watch yourself grow, to watch yourself unfold, to watch yourself thrive is such a joy. Whew. Let that be now. And so it is.